Hey guys, it's Donnie here, and I just want to let you know that we've recently launched a content development company, and this company helps people get social content. You know you need to put out a lot of content nowadays to get engagement out there in all your social platforms. Well, we've come up with a really cool way to help you get videos, blog posts, memes, social posters, and infographics for whatever social site you need. So check us out at successchamps.us and learn more about how you can get social content for your social media.
Support for this podcast comes from Point Blank Safety Services and Blue Family Fund. Point Blank Safety Services does safety differently. We know everyone is on a journey, and we want to make sure you get where you're going safely. Professional, trained, ready. There's really no comparison. Here's why hiring Point Blank Safety for your next project will make all the difference and save you huge amounts of stress and hassle. Point Blank Safety Services provides certified, uniformed police officers for a full suite of armed guard services. Don't leave the safety of your project to chance. If you're ready to make sure safety truly comes first for your next project, then visit us at pointblanksafety.com.
You're listening to Donnie Success Champions, where I believe everybody is on a journey. Life is all about the stories you can tell and teach later. You're going to hear the stories of people who have overcome hardships, failures in life to find success along their journey. Hey guys, it's Fridays with Donnie. I'm your host, Donnie Boivin, on Donnie's Success Champion. Holy cow, that was a lot of Donnies. Today we're going to talk about a lot of fun things, but we're really going to focus in on 10 things that you can do to keep moving forward in life. What I found for me in my business is that I am constantly learning. And that's because I'm constantly getting punched in the face by the screw-ups, the failures, and everything else on a regular basis. But that's how I learn everything, right? You can tell me the stove is hot, the stove is hot, the stove is hot, and I'm still going to grab the damn stove just to see how hot it actually is. So what I'm going to dive into on this episode is 10 things that you can do to help you stay motivated and keep you moving forward. And these are things that I employ and have been some of my go-tos as I move through my journey. So here we go. Number 1, learn obsessively. Here's the trick. Everybody wants to learn a little bit about everything. The problem is, until you master one thing, you cannot be great at others, right? You'll half-ass it. Through my journey, I hated school, despised learning in classrooms. I just didn't like it. It was just not my thing, and teachers knew it. And so they never really tried to get me to learn anything. They just let me do my own thing. So it wasn't until my adult life I realized that you could learn things you really wanted to learn. Like I could learn sales. I could learn marketing. I could learn public speaking. Right? I could learn to run a business. I could learn to fail. And, the crazy thing is once I realized I could learn the things I wanted to learn, learning became a lot of fun. And some of the things I did out the gate to learn was, I listened to tons and tons of books. Man, I can't even begin to fathom the number of books I've gone through over the years. Don't ever really care to count it because it's not a pissing contest of how many books you've read. But I've devoured a ton. I've been to a ton of seminars and, I've spoken in a ton of seminars and such. So for me, one of the greatest tools I'm using right now is what can I feed my mind, and through a learning methodology. So I build workshops and I build courses and I build, all kinds of stuff to help me get further in life. And man, it's really hard to lose any sort of motivation when you're actively trying to learn something, because it's in the learning that you make so many cool discoveries. So what I want you to think about is, how can you learn obsessively on a regular basis? What can you feed your mind? What can you consume that will keep you moving forward and keep you on the right path to success? Number 2, you got to stay humble. Man, this one is tough for me, and I got to be honest, I struggle with this one because I know that I'm destined to be on some really big stages and do some really, really big things. And it's really hard to not get prideful when you get some cool wins. I was recently asked to come be a keynote to an event in Florida, and that's a huge win because I know all the work I've put into it, right? I know all the stuff that I've done to get there. And part of me wants to be a little cocky and go, okay, man, everything that I'm doing is working, right? Everything that I'm pushing forward is starting to get the groove. But on the other hand, there's that part of it of staying humble and remember what you've gone through. I love, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. He's got a speech about $7. And I love this speech. And it's that whole thought process of, when you get wins, you got to remember where you came from. Don't go back to the mindset that you were in when you weren't on top of the world, but remember what you pushed through, what you did to help keep you grounded. And guys, we're in this world to live for ourselves, but there's servitude in helping others. And when you're not humble, you aren't serving others. So it's about, moving and grooving and continue to move forward, but staying humble in that same process. My biggest struggle I find for me is when I get around people that are very, very high-strung and ego-driven, my ego wants to come out. It's the wildest thing in the world. And I've battled it for some time, and, I've gotten better over the years. But I found most people that are going to tell you how awesome they are aren't awesome at all. They actually probably suck. I had an incident this week where a self-proclaimed influencer got into a debate of me via private chats, and it was just so funny watching them drop their accolades and the things they've done and, everything they've accomplished. And, my response to the conversation was, who cares? Right? Nobody gives a damn about where you've been and what you've done, right? When you got to tell people how awesome you are, you're not. It's that simple, right? So stay humble in the process. Just be grateful that you've gone through what you've gone through and encourage others to do the same. That's a lot of what I'm trying to do now is remember the drive, remember the grind, remember the tough times, because it's bringing those back to the forefront that will help you stay humble and keep you pushing forward. Another way to stay motivated as you keep and help you keep moving forward is to keep count of things. It's amazing, in some of the poorest times in my life, I did things like I didn't look at my bank account, or I didn't want to keep numbers. I didn't want to track things. And the reason I didn't want to do all that is because I knew what it would show, right? I knew that it would show that I was sucking. I knew that it would show that I wasn't doing the things I was supposed to do. So I thought that if I looked at it, it would demotivate me. But here's the crazy thing. When you're avoiding looking at stuff, that's when it's demotivating. when you're not looking at things, that's when depression steps in, and that's when all of the things you're fighting for get into your life. Right? If you don't know where your money's being spent, if you don't know what you're doing with your finances, if you don't know what you're doing with your sales numbers, if you're not tracking everything to see what's working and what's not working, you can't stay motivated because you don't know how to fix it when during the tough times. You don't know what you need to do to be able to keep progressing forward. You're just going to keep bumbling around and hoping that you stumble into some sort of mediocre success. You've got to take inventory of what you're doing so you can figure out what's working and then double down on that. It's about, understanding what it takes to run a successful business. And you can't run a successful business without the numbers. It's really that simple. You've got to know what's working and what's not working so your business can thrive. Number 4 is embrace the emotions. And here's what I mean, is when life starts getting overwhelming, faking and pretending you're strong, it really isn't always the best thing. You need to allow yourself to embrace the overwhelm so you can collect your thoughts. I know in some of my toughest struggles that I've faced this year, it's in the times that I didn't put on a false front, that I said, okay, let's figure this out. And I embraced the moment that the breakthroughs happened and the answers came to the table. See, you can't ignore it, because when you ignore it, just like keeping count, it doesn't go away, it gets worse. So you have to embrace it so you can step into it, understand it, and fix it. I mean, there's been a couple times this year, if I had not have stepped into it, I'd be in a world of trouble. If I didn't put myself in a position of having to figure it out, then I don't know if I would have. So you have to embrace that overwhelm and go, okay, I'm here. It sucks. It's tough. Now, how do I move forward? How do I use it? How do I take what I've learned and apply it? What lessons have I learned on my journey that would fit here? And then start asking yourself the questions. When will the breakthroughs come? Where are the answers? And if you ask yourself enough times where are the answers coming from, you're going to be amazed how often they show up. My next one, this one's for me, and I'm going to put one caveat on this one, is if you're not a morning person, then maybe you should end your day with this one. But for me, it's get out of bed and get going. So I have a routine that I use in my business, well, hell, I use it in life, of what it takes to put my morning together. And I've gotten so regimented with that if I miss that step or move, it throws my whole day off. And sometimes it starts with just doing the dishes. And as silly as that sounds, it's for me, it's if you've ever heard the speech of Make Your Bed, which is one of the greatest speeches I've heard in a long time. For me, it's doing the dishes. Because if I get up and I do the dishes, and that sets myself up for a win for the day, and then the whole day keeps stacking on top of that. So for a lot of people, it's, they're not morning people, So this one is very, very tough for them to do, but I would challenge you that if you will get up and get moving and you will take immediate win actions, similar to making your bed, for me doing the dishes, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's meditating, but you get a win, it makes it a lot easier to find other successes on your day and allows you to move forward and win some more. The next one, this is one of my favorites, is to relax. The crazy thing is I think most answers come when you take emotion out of the thought process. And, I learned this on sales calls, because if I went into a deal and I was a nervous wreck, I usually would blow that entire sales call because I couldn't get past my own mindset. I couldn't get past all the thought process. I couldn't, get enough things to click into place because I'd be so emotional at the moment. And, I would slip up, say something stupid on the call, or I wouldn't engage like I wanted to. So relax and take a deep breath and go with the moment. Sometimes it's the ability to let go of it all that allows you to find what you're looking for. So just relax, take a deep breath, and embrace the moment. Number 7, get real with yourself. Quit lying to yourself. And here's what I mean. I'm betting that a lot of you are out there telling people that you're more successful than you are. You're trying to put out this persona of somebody who's on top of the world, when in truth, you're pretty broke and trying to figure things out and struggling. And let me tell you, when you're not getting real with yourself and you're putting these false fronts out there in the marketplace, man, that shit's going to come back and pop the hell out of you. Quit putting on the masks and to be yourself. Just share your story, and share your truths. I'm not saying go out and say my business sucks, it's about to collapse if I don't win this deal. But I am saying embrace the thought process as I'm learning a lot. It's an interesting thing when I opened my business and people, when I first opened, asked me how it was going. I'm like, oh, it's great, when I knew it wasn't. It's really interesting when you talk to other people that have been through it and understand the entrepreneurial journey. When you look at them and say, man, I'm learning a lot. There's a lot of things that I didn't know. It's really cool to watch them step into that themselves and embrace that and go, yeah, I know what you mean. And in the next sentence, almost every time they're like, how can I help? Right? It's wild. But when you put on a false bravado, a false front of some sort, nobody wants to help you because you've got it all figured out. You've got it all, all the answers. And it's about getting real. It's about getting vulnerable. It's about having adult conversations with yourself. Because look, if you can't have adult conversations with yourself, nobody else is going to. You have got to go and be you. Number 8, self-assess. Here's what I mean. There's aspects of your job or your career that you love and there's aspects that you despise. Look at everything that you're doing and write them down. Everything. And here's how I did it for me, man. Is self-assessment I gave myself is I gave every task a plus minus. I really did it this simple. If I enjoyed doing it, it got a plus. If I didn't like doing it, it got a minus. Okay? Went through every task I have in my business. And the interesting thing is I had quite a few pluses. The minuses, even think about them now. I don't like accounting. I don't like, operational stuff. But those are the things that grow my business. And here is the fun thing is those things I didn't like doing, somebody else now does them. I got a good general working knowledge of them, but I don't have to worry about them. It allows me to go do better at what I'm good at. And that just makes life a lot more fun. So go through every task in your life and put a plus minus in there. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Make it black and white, because when it's black and white, life does get a little bit easier to handle. The same token is, if you're working for somebody else and there's things you have to do in your job, just write down the things you love about your job so you can embrace it further and focus on what makes your job awesome. And I promise you guys, because I'm learning it quickly, the quicker you outsource the crap you don't want to do, the better success you're going to see. It's really, really that crazy and that simple. The next one, get up and move. And here's what I mean. Fridays are typically my most physically inactive days because I'm recording podcasts all day Fridays. And that means I'm sitting in front of a computer interviewing people from all over the world for 6 hours straight. And the trick with that is when you do that, your body will ache. Now, guys, I own the farm. And every weekend I am doing a massive amount of projects on the farm. It's just part of the game. I'm building barn stalls. I'm putting up fences. I'm doing a lot of things that you have to do on a farm. And come Sunday night, I'm physically sore because I don't do it all the time. I only do it on the weekends. And so, I've had to learn that especially on Fridays, if I sit in one space for a long time, I ache and my mind doesn't get all that. It isn't all focused and moving forward. So what I have to do, I have to get up and go for a walk. So, and it's amazing is on my parents' house where I recorded the podcast, or even my house, is I got a cool piece of property to go walk. And when you walk and don't take technology, you get a chance to collect your thoughts. So if don't have the luxury of going walking the farm, go find some place to walk. And it's amazing when you have places to go and unwind the mind and physically stretch out the body, the blood gets flowing, the circulation gets flowing, and you just get better. And it's really, really kind of wild. And I think that's why you see all the stand-up desk and everything else is, most people are stuck in a certain position all day. And I think, just think about it. If you're hunched over a computer screen for 8 to 12 hours, not moving, that no image of happy any motivation comes to mind. Now, it doesn't mean some people don't do activities in that moment that they love. I mean, look at gamers. Gamers can sit in front of their computers for hours or their consoles for hours and play games. And they're happy in that moment. But watch when they stand up and they realize what they've done to their body for that entire time. That's what I'm talking about. Is get up and move, stretch it out, and watch how it changes the dynamic of your life. Number 10, focus. And here's the thing. I'm the world's worst at squirreling out. Shiny object syndrome, whatever you want to call it. I can really derail myself so easily by getting focused down the wrong rabbit hole. I'm telling you, you want to find, true motivational, forward-thinking process, then focus on one task and knock it out. And I know interruptions and things will come into play, but more often than not, it's the incompletion of stuff that feeds that story of you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, you're lazy, you're not accomplishing things. Start taking things down. Start finishing things. And the more you get focused on a singular task, then the more ready you are to accomplish something. And the mind likes to finish things. When things are left undone, the mind constantly keeps thinking about them. So you have to, knock things off that are in front of you. Check the box, scratch out the item, and get them done by getting single focused. When you're scatterbrained like I do, right, and you're all over the place, it will actually demotivate you because you're not accomplishing things you know you need to be doing to move your business forward. So here they are. 10 ways to keep yourself moving forward. Learn everything. Become a master of one thing. Stay humble, right? Stay extremely humble. Keep the numbers, right? Keep the know where you're at all time. Embrace the emotions, right? Embrace the tough times, the overwhelm. Feel them. I believe it's a Buddhist methodology that talks about when you embrace that emotion, you can handle it. Get up and get moving. Put yourself in a routine. Get a small win for the day. Number 5. Number 6, relax. Quit getting overworked up, overstressed out. I had a friend come up to me after an event. Now, for a number of years, I helped put this event on, and this was the first year that, I wasn't the guy, one of the guys at the helm, putting this event on. And with me out of the role, the event went smoothly. I'm not saying I hurt the event by any means, but the difference being is the person who is running it now embraced relax more than I did. And since they were able to keep their cool, so was somebody else. And my friend so lovingly said, I'm glad you got to see it from this perspective, this is what happens when an event runs smoothly, when an event runs when you don't have a leader who's stressed. And it was really, really, really cool to see. And it was so insightful for me to realize when I'm as a leader not relaxed, there's no way my team, my people, my followers, my listeners can be relaxed, right? The cool realization. The next one is get real. Take off the damn mask. Quit lying to yourself. There is no fake it till you make it. There's only doing and then becoming. You have got to be punched, slapped, kicked in the face, because without those life experiences, and if you're putting masks on, you're like jumping around in bubble wrap. You won't get the experiences you need to forge and mold you into who you need to become. Number 8, assess. Look for the things that you want to do in your business. Get rid of the things you don't by outsourcing those things. Become a puppet master for your business where you're guiding other people to success and not putting it all on your shoulders. Number 9, get up and move. Change positions. Go for a walk. Get your body moving. Don't just sit there in one spot all day. Move. And number 10, find specific focus. Get things done and keep getting them done. And I promise you, if you will keep getting things done, you will be amazed at how much you're able to continue to move forward. I'm going to throw you a couple of bonuses ones that I wrote down as I was doing this. And the first one is live intentionally. Live on purpose, right? And take action on your dreams. I love sitting around entrepreneurs because they're always conjuring up new ideas and new thought processes. You know, and the interesting thing is the difference between, I think, an entrepreneur and everybody else is entrepreneurs go after them. Everybody else just kind of sits on them. So live intentionally. I'll tell you that you'll never hit your dreams by not going through it and avoiding the stress, avoiding the failures. You'll never get where you want to go by sitting on your ass. The other one is put in the work. You know, the second bonus, put in the work. It's really, really, really easy to slough off the things you don't want to do. But man, I tell you, you look at anybody great, anybody that you seem as successful, and they have put in the time. They've done the work. I mean, I love talking about my buddy Cody Jinks. And it's just cool to see what he's done with his country music career because the dude's put in the time. He's played so many small town bars over the last 10 some odd plus years that it's awesome to see the success he's found now because he did the work. And most people just want to get to some place. You know, they want the end result. Go back to my boot camp story. Why can't they just make me a Marine? Man, you've got to go through it. Put in the time. Do the work. The third bonus is get in the right environment. Get around the right people. Man, I can tell you, when I go have conversations with some close friends of mine, you can't get in a funk around these guys because they're going for it. And man, when you get around other people that are trying to kick ass and go for it, wow, it's cool because they will inspire the shit out of you and you have no time to sit and worry about what's happening next or what's your next move. It is a really, really cool thing. If your environment is depressing or dumb or doesn't allow you to get where you want to go, then man, change the environment. And, you know, sometimes that environment is in your own head. But change it up, move it around, do something with it. And I promise you, the more you sit and don't change everything around, the more you got to live with you. And so here's the thing, guys. If you want to move forward with life, I just gave you 13 things that you can do and apply to you in your life. Do those things. Take one, implement it, own it, and then keep moving forward. And if I can teach you anything, is own that where you are in life is your own damn fault. You have done everything to get yourself there. And only you can do everything you need to do to get yourself where you want to go. Man, keep kicking ass, guys. Keep going for it. Find ways to be proud of yourself. If you can't be proud of yourself, nobody else will. Inspire yourself. Become your own success story. Go big and loud. Thanks for listening to Donnie's Success Champions podcast. If you'd like to hear more about our current guest today, or if you'd like to hear stories from our other guests on the show, come hang out with us on our website at successchancepodcast.com. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you need to reach out to me for any reason, you can catch me at Donnie@DonnieBoivin.com.